2 years ago, NASA's James Webb Space Telescope gave us an incredible first look at the far edges of our universe. This $10 billion telescope is the biggest and most advanced one we have in space right now. After taking some amazing pictures, the James Webb Telescope showed some info about Mercury that NASA had been keeping quiet. Right after this, the US stopped the mission without warning. This planet might not seem like much, but it's actually pretty weird. Being so close to the Sun means Mercury is super hot. Some things there are really unexpected, like sparkly diamonds. And under that shiny surface, there's this huge, mysterious core that doesn't make sense with what we used to think. What other secrets could be hiding in these findings? Let's check out the things we've learned that could totally change how we see this planet. Even though Mercury looks small compared to the Sun, it's still a big deal. Under that super hot surface, there are tons of strange mysteries. Recently, probes from Earth found something shocking: Mercury's crust is covered in diamonds. These shiny stones are on one of the hottest planets in our solar system. But that's just the start. Looking closer, we found that Mercury's core isn't just weird, it's also huge. These things make you wonder, what makes Mercury so different from the other planets around it? And what other cool secrets might be hidden inside? The Mariner 10 spacecraft was the first to reach Mercury. It made space history by sending back the first close-up photos, showing a planet full of craters and strange ridges, just like our Moon. This mission changed what we thought we knew about Mercury. It showed us a rough surface, a surprisingly strong magnetic field, and a core bigger than scientists had expected. But that wasn't the craziest thing. About 30 years later, the Messenger mission changed everything again. Unlike Mariner 10, Messenger was made to orbit Mercury, so it could keep sending back detailed info. It took almost 200,000 pictures, which really helped us understand Mercury better and see places we'd never seen before. One of the coolest things Messenger found was a lot of calcium and magnesium on the planet's dark side. This made scientists wonder what could cause this. They also found that Mercury's magnetic field was way stronger in its northern half, which is different from other planets. These weird things made experts rethink what they knew about what Mercury is made of and how it changed over time. On Earth, magnetic fields are usually made by molten iron moving around inside the core. But Mercury is different. It has a special kind of magnetic thing going on because of its unique insides. So, what else makes Mercury special? Besides its cratered surface and cool geology, the planet has crazy weather. Daytime temps can hit a burning 800 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hot enough to melt lead. But at night, it drops to around -292 degrees Fahrenheit. Mercury's weak air doesn't do much to hold in heat, so it has some of the most extreme temperature changes in the solar system. But the heat isn't the only thing that's interesting about Mercury. Recent studies have shown some more surprising stuff. Findings from the 2012 Messenger mission showed proof of old, explosive eruptions and signs of current volcanoes. This goes against what we used to think, that Mercury had been quiet for billions of years. And in 2020, scientists found something else amazing. Some of Mercury's polar craters that are always in shadow have frozen water in them. Even though it's so close to the Sun, these areas stay so cold that ice can hang around. This made people wonder again, could simple life forms live in these icy spots, like in Earth's toughest places? It makes you think about how life could make it in other places in the universe, even if things seem impossible. But that's not all. In 2018, the European Space Agency and the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency teamed up to send the baby Colombo spacecraft to Mercury. It should get there by 2025. Once it arrives, baby Colombo will start gathering all sorts of detailed info about Mercury, like what its surface is made of and what's going on beneath. It's strange how Mercury has water, ice, and a strong magnetic field, even though it's so close to the Sun. And get this, a day on Mercury is actually longer than its year. Usually, when we think about planets, we imagine them spinning once a day and going around the Sun once a year. But Mercury doesn't follow the rules. One full spin takes about 176 Earth days, but it only takes 88 Earth days to go around the Sun. Basically, a year on Mercury is only half as long as a day. This leads to some weird stuff. If you were on Mercury's surface, the Sun would seem to rise, get bigger, and then do something strange. It would stop, go backwards for a bit, and then keep moving across the sky. This is because Mercury spins slowly and orbits the Sun quickly. Why does Mercury spin so slowly? It's because of something called tidal locking. Over billions of years, the Sun's gravity has slowed down Mercury's spin. The planet spins 3 times for every 2 orbits it makes around the Sun. This makes for a weird cycle of day and night, which causes crazy temperature changes on the surface. The side facing the Sun gets super hot, while the other side stays frozen for a long time. These changes are some of the most extreme in our solar system. It's important to know that Mercury doesn't have a normal atmosphere like Earth. Instead, it has a super thin exosphere that's so weak it's always disappearing into space. It only gets refilled now and then by solar wind, radiation, or small meteor hits. Recent studies have found new and surprising things about this exosphere. Data from the Messenger spacecraft in 2020 showed that scientists had underestimated how much water vapor was there. This vapor probably happens when oxygen from Mercury's surface mixes with hydrogen from the solar wind. Another weird thing about Mercury is how fast it moves around the Sun, especially compared to how slowly it spins. This odd mix has a big influence on the planet's magnetic stuff. Scientists were shocked to find that Mercury has a global magnetic field, even though it's small and spins slowly. They found out that the weird spin rate, orbit, and the movement of stuff inside its liquid metallic core all play a part in this magnetic field. The Baby Colombo mission, which started in 2018, is using these flybys to adjust its direction and speed. When it gets there in 2025, Baby Colombo will need to be careful with its power and temperature to survive Mercury's strange daylight cycle. Mercury keeps surprising scientists, giving us new hints about how it was made and how planets are formed. Studies suggest that Mercury might have spun faster at first, but then slowed down because of the Sun's gravity and hits from other objects. This gives us more insight into the history of Mercury and the things that change planets over time. As scientists keep exploring, new questions pop up about Mercury's core, surface, and the forces that made it what it is. The more we understand, the more we see how Mercury doesn't fit with what we thought we knew about planets. Mercury is still the smallest planet in our solar system. But it has lots of secrets that still fascinate scientists. One of the coolest things about Mercury is its huge core. According to a planetary scientist, Mercury's core is about 85% of its total size. Earth's core, on the other hand, is only about 15% of its total mass. This makes you wonder, why is Mercury's core so big? One popular idea is that Mercury used to be much larger but lost a lot of its outer layers because of a big crash early on. This idea says that a giant object hit Mercury, stripping away its outer layers and leaving behind the thick, iron core that we see today. Mercury's magnetic field, even though it's weak, is also really interesting. Despite being small and spinning slowly, scientists were surprised to see that it has a global magnetic field, unlike Venus and Mars. This finding, made by NASA's Messenger spacecraft, led to more studies. Researchers also found that Mercury's magnetic field isn't even. One researcher and her team figured out that Mercury's radius is off by about 20%, which might have to do with changes in the planet's crust and how heat comes out of its core. In 2020, more studies showed that there are things like sulfur, potassium, and sodium on Mercury's surface. This added to what we know about Mercury, making it one of the most interesting planets around. As we keep exploring, Mercury's mysteries keep coming to light, challenging how we see planets being made and changing over time. The mysteries around Mercury continue to grab scientists' attention. As researchers dig into its many puzzles, some finds give us a peek at what the planet might be like, but many questions are still unanswered. One of the most interesting things about Mercury is that it has stuff that would normally turn into a gas in such hot temperatures. One scientist from the Johns Hopkins Applied Physics Laboratory thinks that comets or asteroids might have dropped off these things a while after Mercury was made. One of the most exciting things we've learned about Mercury is that there's water ice in the craters at the poles that are always in shadow. Thanks to one researcher, this discovery was possible. These craters are so cold that the ice stays frozen. There might also be carbon molecules there, like the ones that might have started life on Earth. This makes you wonder if Mercury, with all its crazy conditions, might give us some clues about where life started in our solar system. Mercury's geology has also had some surprises. We used to think it had been quiet for a long time, but new data from NASA's Messenger spacecraft shows that there has been some recent volcano stuff. One scientist from the Open University in the UK found small, shiny volcano vents called hollows. These give us some info about what's happening on the planet now. These hollows suggest that Mercury's geology might still be changing. Another weird thing about Mercury is its chaotic terrain, which is a big, messy area near the South Pole that was first seen during the 1970s Mariner 10 mission. One scientist from the Smithsonian Institution thinks that big Mercury earthquakes caused by the sun's gravity might have made this landscape. Mercury's insides are just as cool. Using data from the Messenger mission, one scientist from the University of Zurich found out that Mercury has a big, solid inner core surrounded by a liquid outer core, just like Earth. But Mercury's inner core is much bigger, which could explain its special magnetic qualities. This unexpected info goes against what we thought we knew about how planets form and change, showing that there are still lots of secrets in our solar system. The Messenger mission also showed that Mercury has a thin mantle, only about 260 miles thick, compared to Earth's much bigger mantle. This thin mantle affects how heat moves around and what kind of geology happens on the planet. Researchers found proof of old volcano stuff beneath Mercury's surface, including shallow spots called hollows that formed when things near the surface turned into gas. In 2020, scientists found signs of a big magma area that used to be under Mercury's surface. This magma made big, flat areas, especially in the northern half. These volcano areas, known as the northern volcano plains, were probably made by big lava flows a long time ago. More study of the Messenger data in 2022 showed even more mysteries, including hints of nitrogen trapped under the surface. This suggests that Mercury might have had a thicker atmosphere that was pushed underground by the planet's crazy heat and solar radiation. Another cool find is the ice in the craters at Mercury's poles that are always in shadow. This ice is safe from the sun, so it stays frozen even though the planet is so close to the sun. Some of this ice might be pretty young, probably dropped off by comets or asteroids in the last tens of millions of years. The chance that there could be carbon stuff in these frozen areas raises more interesting questions about whether there could have been life on the planet.